Hello and welcome people back to Nights into Dreams for the PlayStation 2. I was actually wrong about something before. I thought that this was part of the Sega Ages series, based on everything that's being said on the internet, but apparently it's not. Like, there is no indication on the cover of the game that that's the case, so... Well, it's still a really good budget remake, never mind, regardless. And we're going to probably the most visually diverse from the whole rest of the game stage.
Hey, it's Arizona.
Exactly.
It's just so weird to me. Why do they start you out with your stuff and let you control things, but then have it get, it's not like it changes anything. It'll always be in the same place.
Well, the idea is that you're supposed to be getting to that place, and you need those for orbs, right?
Yes, but
and,
the point was, why do they let you get gameplay when there's nothing that's going to change anything?
Well, there is a reason for that. Like thematically, those things are sort of symbolize, you know, the fears and what have you. They're called the Nightmarens.
Mm-hmm.
Those monsters. So like the orbs are called something like idea orbs, but they are spelled weirdly because that makes everything better.
Because that way it's mystical and not just lazy naming.
Exactly, and also Japanese.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a reason. So like you have those you have like your idea, which also symbolized all the different things. There is a lot more to like the story, like the universe of this than there is ever explained. There is actually some explanation
but
to.
Nico, none of that explains why they start you out, let you jump around for a second, only to inevitably get it stolen every single stage.
Because you have that, and the nightmares take it away from you.
But why do they let you control that? Why don't they just show a little cutscene?
Because then it's like you have some control over your fate, but then you.
But it's all an illusion. Oh my gosh, it's really deep. That's what it is.
See?
It's about the illusory nature of free will.
Exactly.
We're all fated anyway.
Yeah, so you just, like, things will happen, but you need to just deal with it.
Yeah. Wow.
And now this is like
real in Nights into Dreams. What on earth?
This is like the only thing that I don't like about this remake so far. In the Saturn version, this minigame actually controlled way differently. Because they made use of the control stick, as in your like you traveled in the direction that you pushed on the control stick. So like if you pushed it all the way up, you would be all the way up there. If you pushed it to the right, you would be on the right. And then they changed it
to left or right, just swings you in that direction.
Exactly, and it's like infinitely
counterclockwise. Yeah.
It's infinitely not as good.
Yep.
But you know, that's like the one thing that they changed that for the worse, with a lot of other things being changed for the better. You know. Mm-hmm. So you win some, you lose some, and also honestly, they also fixed one of the most annoying factors about this very stage, which we will get to in a.
Something they could have done which would make this better is if the little things that you're collecting and the hoops and things like that also change depending on the stage, not just the background. So like the hoops and the little things you're collecting could be somehow desert themed also, you know? And
yeah.
The hoops, like, because it's always like you're flying through a different area, but you're always collecting the same sorts of stuff. You know?
That is true, but at the same time, you also kind of want to know which ones give you how much stuff, you know, how many points.
Yeah, but they could just use color coding for that or something. What on earth?
We went through a magnetic field and now we're collecting a whole bunch of things. We're gonna turn those innocent angels into points.
Oh. Oh, you know, I always grind up my angels points, so this checks out.
Yeah, for the angel paste.
I mean, well, delicious angel paste, you know.
No wonder they're getting extinct for being so delicious. Wonderful 5.
And you only got 5 that time. Nico, I'm used to you getting your marvelous 9.
I'm on my previous runs. I'm more used to getting the nice 1.
Does it literally say nice one?
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah. And we're getting through this again. You don't want to hit the walls because that happens. Like the moment you hit a wall, everything that you have gathered thus far just shakes off of you.
Does it slow you down the more stuff you get?
Actually, no. I just don't speed up.
Gotcha.
You go just as fast. You just don't want to go fast.
Gotcha. Okay, here we go.
10 more seconds.
The Nico 9. 8.
A good 8. You really wouldn't be able to tell because it's just rubbing against the wall.
I mean, that's how.
Okay, and here we are. This is the section that always gave me trouble on the Saturn, which I assume in this, it's either that I've gotten it way better, or like it's just the perspective seems to work more in your favor, because like I would get hit by those all the time. Also, it follows by what follows is one of the meanest thingies that this game has. Basically, you get stuck on an on-the-rails thing that you cannot escape from, and when you do get stuck on it, it's on the Saturn version at the very least. Almost every time you run out of time before getting to the end. It's really infuriating. Like there is nothing you can do, and after like this one's finished, you get bombarded straight into the next one. I've tried avoiding that one so many times. Like see here.
Yep.
But what they did in this version, I'm pretty sure that's what they did for this version. They made the timing for this a lot more, a lot more generous. So you don't have to be absolutely flawless. See, normally when I played this on the Saturn, I would just be flying off of that thing.
Gotcha.
And just like without any points, and would have to just rely on getting a good score off of the boss in order to actually unlock the final stage. And this is NiGHTS' rival. And I absolutely suck at this fight because I really don't like it really doesn't telegraph what you're exactly supposed to be doing. And because of something that I for some fucking reason I also have a close to no boost.
So you've got to loop around him, and then that messes with him somehow?
You basically have to create a paraloop right in front of him. Like that squarely.
Yeah.
And it's really finicky to do that. Like just because he can avoid you like that or push you. Thankfully, most of the times he doesn't even deduct any time from you. So even though this fight is fairly difficult, it's like not. And I'm probably just doing it wrong. But yeah, it's just very finicky, and there's probably some trick to it that I do not know. The boss fights are the like for me it's the hardest part of the game, simply because whereas with the stages I can just restart them and like redo them from the moment go, you know. Bosses, they're And so the second time you go into a stage and beat the boss, you may not get the same boss.
Oh.
Sometimes
So
that
the
happens.
bosses aren't linked to the stages?
Not necessarily, like, to some degree yes, and to some degree no. It does, I sometimes gotten like the first boss on the third stage.
Does it depend on what score you got, or...?
Yeah, maybe. It's weird, but usually you get new ones. Sometimes you get old ones.
Huh.
It's a little bit unpredictable, really. And and also you cannot choose to start off from a boss. You have to get to the boss first, which is why it's so hard to experiment on it